Hey guys, my name is Irina Hassanov, and I'm an independent 3D artist from Germany. I hope you had a great GDC so far. It's Friday. And yeah, this is our panel, The Resilient Job Hunt, addressing the well of doubts. Did everyone click the red link? All right, then let's go. Now, you might wonder, why would someone like me, yeah, this would be me, make this panel, because I actually don't have much experience in the games industry. And the truth is that it took me a while to graduate. First, I finished my Bachelor of Science, then I acquired my 3D diploma. And afterwards, as I graduated, the whole pandemic started. And to find a job in the games industry, it felt actually impossible, or at least it seemed this way. But even before that, it really sounded scary and stressful to apply. But in the end, it was so worth it. That's why I have put up this panel with 5 amazing individuals who do have jobs in the industry. They all work in different disciplines, but are connected through their passion and love for games and their openness and willingness to share. So that's just simply amazing. And I hope that you are someone who wants to take the same path as them and learn from their mistakes, but especially their success stories, because there will be a lot of those on this panel. So, and if you are someone who already has a job in the industry, maybe you will feel inspired, or something that they say resonates in you, and you maybe shared a similar experience. So we have prepared 6 relevant questions, and every new applicant should have when facing the well of doubts when it comes to applying into the games industry. So meanwhile, during our panel, feel free to ask questions in the chat and vote for your favorites. And so sit back and enjoy. Don't forget the questions. And let's welcome our panelists. Hey guys, please introduce your awesome selves. So let's start with Carlos.
Hello, everyone. First of all, it's amazing to be here. My name is Carlos Dana. I'm originally from Argentina. Currently, I live in Stockholm, Sweden. I currently work for a consulting firm called Quick AV, and I work for several industries, game development being one of them. I have 6+ years of experience as a software developer, and I met most of the amazing people that are joining us today through volunteering, like being a conference associate at GDC or being at DevCom as a volunteer. So it's a pleasure to be here with everyone.
All right, and Dana.
Hi everyone, I'm Dana Würzburg. I'm a 3D artist with a technical background. Right now I'm an art lead at Fifth Planet Games in Berlin. It's a really nice, small, lovely studio that just started out and has its major focus on casual games. Yeah, a little bit about myself. I discovered my love for 3D art in games during my time when I studied programming. But instead of pursuing with programming, I really had to go into 3D because it's just so cool, at least for me. Yeah, I have been part of around 5 shipped mobile games and 2 VR projects. And for 3 years now, you can also find me on bigger game and art festivals in Europe. In there, I'm not only attending, but sometimes also helping as a volunteer. I'm also part of Women in Games, and if you ever come to Berlin, you will find me in several meetups in the Berlin community as well.
Amazing. Jeremy.
Hello, I'm Jeremy Lekas, technical producer at Cryptic Studios. Been making games for about 8 years now. While I was in college, I worked with a bunch of indie studios, and then I've been working for professionally for about 4 years. Shipped a lot of different fun titles on a lot of really cool IPs, and met a lot of these exciting folks here on this panel at GDC through the Conference Associate program as well, and very excited to be here.
All right. Sophie.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sophie Mintz, and I am the community director at Donkey Crew, which is a small team based out of Poland, but I currently live in the US. Thanks to the pandemic, I wasn't able to move just yet. Recently, we shipped our title Last Oasis into early access in March of 2020, and we just shipped onto the Xbox Game Preview in March of 2021. I have about 3 years of industry experience, both in PC gaming and in the VR side of things. And I graduated with a BFA in illustration from Ringling back in 2016. That was also the first year I started volunteering as a conference associate, like these other lovely folks at GDC. And yeah, I'm very happy to be here.
And last but not least, Tatiana.
Hi, my name is Tatiana, and following on the trend of people who studied computer science but ended up not going into engineering, I started my career straight out of school through the Microsoft Xbox intern program into game production. I had the opportunity to work on about 6 AAA games over a period of over 12 years. My career has taken me from Seattle to Sweden and now in Los Angeles. And most recently, me and a small crew of other experienced developers decided to take on the brave journey of starting your own game studios, where I am running all things studio operations and production.
Amazing. Okay, then let's move on to our questions. And how this will work is that we have a main question, and then we will ask questions around that main question. So the first question would be regarding the job hunt and career planning. What do you know now that you wish you knew then? And Sophie, when I graduated, I couldn't find a job for 1 year. And does that happen often to other applicants? And is this considered normal?
Definitely. So, like I said, I have a BFA in illustration, and now I do community. I was applying to art jobs for, most of my senior year and about 10 months after I graduated. And I wasn't getting any interviews. I was only getting positive feedback on my portfolio, but no one really wanted to hire me. And that was okay. Like, I had the realization that, you know what, maybe art isn't what I want to pursue anyways. So I was working at a very small little coffee shop in my hometown. And then I moved to California without a plan in 2017 during GDC. Managed to land a contract gig at Google doing customer support. That taught me a lot of really great soft skills. And I eventually was like moving up within that contract role and doing other components of like QA with people, QAing people, and training new customer support agents. And during GDC 2018, I landed an interview with a small VR startup and I got the job. And that was my foot in the door breaking into games. And so I had a lot of, weird background stuff before I actually got into the industry. And that's really normal. There's plenty of people within games that have decades long careers doing something completely unrelated. Like I know someone who used to be a veterinarian and now works in games. So it's okay. Take your time. It's not a rush. The games industry will be here. So if you see something that could give you experience that you think will help you in the long term, then go for it. But don't feel bad if you're not immediately breaking in.
Yeah, I think it's completely normal to do something else in the meantime. And yeah, Carlos, something that you wish you knew then. What is the tool that helped you the most to find a job?
Yeah, so for me, it was LinkedIn more than anything. When I was doing my master's degree, one of the people that in the university that focuses on basically putting people into different companies recommended me start working on your LinkedIn early on your while you're doing your master's degree, and so I did. So every single project I worked, even if it was a game jam project or something completely unrelated to the game industry, I would put it on my on LinkedIn and just get there. Also, something I wish I knew back then, it was reach out to people. There are a lot of people in LinkedIn willing to lend a hand. If you see someone that has a position that is in a position that you are like, oh, I would love to work on that position in this company, try to reach out. Usually they will answer. And if they don't, at least you try. Lately, I've been trying to look more into Discord. I'm not very experienced on that areas, but I know a lot of people recommend that nowadays, and I think there is only benefits. I know some Discord communities can be a little bit toxic, but most of them, I think they are very good people, and also they are heavily moderated. So
Yeah,
those are the
definitely.
communities you want to be.
I agree. LinkedIn is a very powerful tool nowadays, and it's definitely worth it using it, right? So, Jeremy, in your introduction, you had a really long list of employers, and you must be a true resume pro by now. Please share your wisdom with us.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a complete pro. I don't think you're always learning. I'm always learning myself. I actually still take feedback and take advice and just looking at other people's resumes, right, as well. But just continuing to tailor my resume towards job descriptions instead of just having an overall resume. As you start building more experience, really tailoring your cover letters and your resumes towards the job description, and the keywords in that job description are super important. So you end up with a variety of different types of resumes, but you're always constantly improving it as the years go on, even as you end up in the industry. And when things happen and you have to dust off the resume, you constantly are always improving it again. But if in regards to the question at hand, having when I graduated, I submitted well over probably 500 applications after graduation, and just learning that kind of sends your application and resume off into a vast sea of other resumes. And I learned really fast that building relationships and people at the studios you want to work at is really important. And like, when I see a job that interests me, I always make sure to go out and look for somebody that I know at that studio. Referrals usually end up getting you interviews faster, or at least some, guaranteeing you that at least a human being is gonna read your resume. But then, yeah, if it's one thing that I wish I knew then that I wish I knew now is, instead of just applying to every job I saw, actually taking the time and the effort and doing research into each position and reaching out to people at those jobs.
Yeah, you heard him. That's actually stellar advice. All right, let's move on to the next question, and that would be, what challenges did you face while networking, and how did you overcome them? So, Sophie, you mentioned previously that Discord helped you to find a job. Can you share this story with us?
Yeah, definitely. So Carlos mentioned a bit about how he's trying to start using Discord a little bit more. As a community manager, Discord is my life. And so when I first started working as a CM, I was invited to an industry server that's run by Discord community managers. And it's a bunch of people from different sides of the gaming industry. And it's where we all get to know each other a little bit better, see each other's work ethic and how we parse through issues and bounce ideas off of one another. And while I started to talk to people there and create some friendships and get close to other people, it was helpful because I needed to look for a job. And my current coworker was part of those servers and had kind of become my friend because we had started having, side conversations about whatever. And he knew that he liked my work ethic and that I would be a good fit for the team. And so when I was looking for a job, he went, do you just want to work for us? I was like, that's it? Like, that's, do you want me to interview? And he's like, no, don't worry about it. Do you want to come work for us? I was like, yeah, that would be great. Thanks. And now it's been over a year and a half, and I could not imagine myself happier on any other team. And it's been great. So utilizing a space like that is super beneficial. And there's plenty of other servers that are focused for college kids that are, looking to start to speak to professionals within the industry. You can find them on Discord. You can find them through Twitter. Twitter is also a really helpful platform when it comes to just kind of seeing what industry people are like and opening conversations with them. So Discord and Twitter, they're great.
Yeah, definitely. Especially right now where most events happen online, right? So that will be definitely a challenge which is overcome with the help of Discord. Okay, Dana, you are in a position where you had to hire people. How did networking help there?
Yeah, totally. Not only I had to hire people, but our studio was looking, or is right now also again looking for more support. And I'm just this kind of person who really likes to go to events, because for me, I just love attending these events because you meet so many interesting people, and everybody has their own story as to how they joined games, and every story is so individual. So just meeting these people is already so inspiring. Yeah, meeting people on events yourself that we cannot do right now, just really open up opportunities. We still have like the platforms right now, but I'm really looking forward for events being live and in person again. So you can of course find your dream job, but you can also stumble into really inspiring conversations where you just open your horizon to new adventures, and instead that can help you shift your dreams to maybe a new spot of light where it was dark before, and suddenly you see, oh, I don't have to do this one thing that I always dreamed, but there's more opportunities, and maybe I don't. I do like this new opportunity much better than what I had imagined before. So just going there, really talking to people is a good way to just network as well. And yeah, like you mentioned, or maybe you suggested that just before the pandemic, I was able to find one of our team colleagues. So the story is like this. um, I've just been to another event in Berlin. It was an art event, and I was just already on a few events looking for our new UI animator. And I was just talking to a friend and just telling her I've been to this event and that event, and it's just no animators anywhere. And then she turns around and says, "Hey, look, my friend here is an animator and she's looking for a new job." And it's so easy sometimes to just accidentally stumble upon a new opportunity right there without even sometimes without even looking, because she was not going to this event to find a new job. She was just considering, and all of a sudden I was able to say something on an event I was never able before, something like, "I will hire you," and it became true in the end. Yeah, so on the event itself, we started talking. I noticed really quickly that she would be an amazing fit.
Yeah,
Yes.
that worked out really well for you, right? Yeah, but speaking of events, Jeremy, you were located in Wisconsin when you started your journey, right? Did it make things difficult when it comes to networking?
Yeah, a little bit. You don't necessarily, when you think of video game development, Milwaukee, Wisconsin on the top of that list. And that definitely was a thought that crossed my mind. I moved to that location because of family. But after doing research, I found a good technical college where they had a game industry program where I got my programming and design degree. But I also utilized that opportunity to, branch out into areas where there was more of a game development community, like Madison, Wisconsin, and Chicago, which wasn't too far of a drive. Madison having Raven and PUBG and Epic and Bethesda, and Chicago has EA and Jackbox and Volition and Iron Galaxy, and so there's definitely gaming communities in there. Not so much in Milwaukee, but so just it was a lot of doing my research and homework and getting involved in the local community as much as possible in any events that I could attend. But then also setting up and starting up my own indie event with a local business in the Milwaukee area, where I invited other indie developers in the area to come show off their games, and that really that really helped, with a lot of the challenges of networking in my area. I even went as far as showing off one of our indie games in Indianapolis at Gen Con, driving all the way to Indianapolis from Wisconsin. But yeah, and then just kind of going through all that, I was bartending my way through college, and with all my previous experience in life in the military, and just utilizing all that soft skills in my non-gaming job, and kind of taking that into all these events that I was going in. And then eventually that led me to getting accepted at the Conference Associate program at GDC, and the rest is history.
Yeah, right. So when the event didn't come to you, you came to the event, and then at some point you just made an event yourself. That's
Yes.
really cool. Yeah, but I would like to move on to the next question, and that would be, what does your company expect from employees that just graduated from college? You just start out and you're nervous. Yeah, Tatiana, you have now worked in a AAA company and founded your own indie studio. Is there a difference between what a AAA company expects of you versus the indie studio?
So I came as straight out of college into the industry, and I'm super grateful that I had a path in. And one of the first employees for the new indie studio was an intern at Electronic Arts. So I have this strong desire to make sure that there's a good path for people to come in, because they're awesome coworkers and really the future of the industry. And so with FuzzyBot, I'm constantly thinking about what would be the best way to bring new people into the company. I think at a very high level, between AAA and indie, there is a lot of common things that both groups would look for in somebody coming straight out of college. There's just a baseline of core skills. Like if you're a programmer, you probably need to know C++. For example, I went into production, but I had a computer science degree, and that helped me be a good producer for small technical teams starting out. And I think experience working in groups is useful as well, because games is very much a team sport. And so being able to coordinate and make decisions with others and bounce off ideas is really useful. But at a very, very high level, what we always look for, myself and at Electronic Arts and all the other studios, is somebody that just has really high potential to grow and learn, and a willingness to put in that effort into learning. So we expect that anybody coming fresh from college or university into the games industry, we expect to invest in them, and that they don't know all of the things, and that it's going to be a journey together. And so there's already an expectation that will help you along the journey. I think one of the mistakes I personally made coming straight from school is I wanted to be perfect. I really wanted to get all the things right straight out of the gate. And sometimes I just got stuck in these rat holes where I could have just asked. And I think there's a delicate balance when you come out of school to try to figure it out yourself, but also don't be afraid to ask for help, so that you're not stuck. These days, as like a senior member, I bounce ideas all the time before I dig into a problem. So that's just something to prepare for. The main difference between indie and AAA is really kind of your focus. So in an indie studio, we're a really small group of people, and all of us are expected to do a lot of different things outside of our core expertise. And I think things like culture and the processes would impact anybody coming in more, just because it's so small and we're all need to be bought into the company's success. So we're looking for people that are really excited about our mission, like the way that we approach development, and it's really bought in at that level. And then it's off to the races, so to say. And I think in AAA, it's really structured. So even if you come from a generalist background, you're probably gonna get a task that's very specialized. Like there's 3D artists, but they focus in character art or level art or hard surface art. So your task will probably be more specialized and more focused, and you will get a mentor who is very good in that item. And and even maybe that small team around you will have more impact on your experience than the bigger studio, depending on how big it is. But overall, just again, that kind of hunger to learn, grow, and contribute to the team and the game, and make awesome experiences for players is the common expectation from anybody jumping straight out of school.
Absolutely. It doesn't matter if indie or AAA, just show your motivation, right? And yeah, speaking of motivation, Carlos, you recently started a new job. What would you tell someone who just had their first day at the new company?
Yeah, so what I would say is breathe. Take a deep breath and relax a little bit. No one is expecting you to come into the office the first day and start raking in the code and fixing all the issues and fixing all the bugs. I would recommend them to just be themselves. They don't have to demonstrate much because each company has their own way of working, even if it is a small startup or a large company. So I would say just that. Focus on the process. I'm going to echo everything that Tatiana said. This is a team sport, and your team is there to support you and help you out there. So aside from that, take a deep breath and go on. Like demonstrate that you're the best that you can do without stressing yourself, I would say.
Right. Last time you told me, don't be afraid to make mistakes. And it actually truly helped me in my new job. So thanks for that. Jeremy, how can job candidates meet those expectations at your company?
I mean, we hire. I mean, we definitely look at a variety of different things. When we look at, I'm looking at portfolios that show off people's work. People put in the effort to actually, show off what they're working on, whether it be a GitHub or a website or LinkedIn. But love seeing candidates who put in the effort, just not in college, but also like try to put in some effort outside as well. I mean, even if it's not just like getting some simple games either on Steam or on the Android store or the Apple store, games that are just not like global game jam projects, right? Seeing like you're taking the extra mile like to learn in school, but also doing stuff on the side goes a long way. And just with someone who does their homework into the studio and culture and into the job at hand. When you're interviewing candidates, when a candidate asks a question that could have been easily found like on our website, you could usually tell very quickly when people don't do their homework. And a big thing for me is at least making an effort to play the games that you're applying for, even if they're not your forte. Definitely check out the games that you're going to be working on. I always highly recommend. And then another big thing for me is just someone who clearly understands chain of command and able to answer hypothetical questions. Not necessarily always looking for the right answer. I'm just kind of seeing how your thought process is and where your brain goes to, and kind of how you step by step go through issues and situations. But yeah, echoing a lot of what has already been said. Just we just being yourself and showing enthusiasm and being optimistic about the project and the job description at hand. I mean, we just hired somebody, I think, straight out of high school, so it is possible to accomplish that.
Right. So be yourself, but also take a look at the company that you're applying to, right? All right. The next question then. So I think with COVID, a lot of things changed. And how do you apply and interview for a job during COVID, right? It's not completely over yet. So Tatiana, you actually founded last year and you were brave enough to do this during a global pandemic. How did your applicants have to prepare for the application?
So one of the great things around having your own studio, it's not my own, FuzzyBot is a group of people that love, but we get to right the wrongs that we've experienced in other places. So one of the things that was really important to me, because I'm in charge of the hiring pipeline, is that it's super easy to apply, that there's as few hurdles to actually put your name into the FuzzyBot pool as possible. So we just have an email, and then people send in, their resume, hopefully in PDF format, so that the formatting is all good on everyone's computer, with a little short intro about, why they're interested in the company or what they're looking for in this particular role, and a little bit of a background. I'm not looking for cover letters. Again, I don't want people to do something extra. Your resume and your body of work should really speak on your behalf. But a little bit into the email itself of, why FuzzyBot, why this role, or maybe you're just applying to the open requisite, like what are you bringing to the table? There's something there. And I try to reply to every single person. One of the things that I look for is, again, we're an indie studio and we really need versatile people. So what is it about you that would work really well in our studio? Are you a programmer who also does art? Are you coming straight out of school with a great degree, but you have experience running a really big Discord community? Like, we're looking for any kind of things that would really help our studio fill all the roles with a small team. I would say the big difference from my experience on the AAA side is, even for me as a person with over a decade of experience, sometimes the application process can feel a little bit like a black box. I've searched for different jobs. I've applied. I had an experience where I applied to a role, didn't hear back. And then like a month later, a recruiter from that role reached out to me and asked, like, hey, your profile's great. Do you want to apply? And I'm like, but I did. What happened? Where did my application go? And I think my advice around that is try to connect to somebody in the studio, especially in your discipline, because that person can give you great feedback. If you're don't have everything that studio needs as a programmer, reaching out to a senior programmer, you can get feedback on what skills you might need to work on before you're ready to move forward. And if you keep following up with them, you can build a relationship, and they can help recommend you next time things open up. And in big studios, things open up all the time. So even if it's not this particular role, but you really want to join a studio, you can keep the conversation going. And even for FuzzyBot and AAA, I think seeing people who show interest and maybe ask for feedback, and then you give them feedback and they come back in like 2-3 months showing progress, like, hey, we use Unreal. I see you don't have Unreal experience, and that's really important to us. And then somebody's like, hey, I've spent 16 weeks learning Unreal. Here's some cool stuff, like, still really passionate about this opportunity. What else? Like, that's really impressive. And that's something that goes from just, one of many applicants to somebody who, hey, I really want to try to make this work. This person's really trying. So that's kind of been my experience. I'm really happy to be able to streamline the things with FuzzyBot that I had less control over at the previous studios.
So to summarize, don't spend too much time on the cover letter. Better let your work speak for yourself, and just keep it up. Don't stop after one application. Keep working. Yep. Right. Dana, how about you? Is there a difference between what companies expected from employees before and after Corona?
What stayed the same is basically everything that Tatiana just said and recommended. But something that does change right now is how we work. Since Corona, most of our team is working online. But what does it mean for the interview process? We will probably have the normal interview that we would normally have, so a screening interview, and what then changed is basically that we will not have an office tour. Unfortunately, we will do all our interviews online. And what happens after that? So how can I actually imagine working from home? How does this even work? So we weren't really sure how that works before Corona, and we did make it work. And so something that is always really important within game teams is that we have a constant feedback. Normally we would walk around desks and then just casually start walking. So talking. But what we do now is we try to simulate this artificially, and I think now certain things became much better than we did before. So we know how to poke people better. We have artificial coffee chats where we have like literally just a meeting in the middle of the day where everyone can come in just to talk about random stuff around the day or what they have been done during the weekend, because this is something important that is just missing this everyday interaction, right? So something else that we started doing is there's this amazing tool online for whiteboards. It's called Miro, and we have become super creative with that. So since we do not have to wipe down a whiteboard in the meeting room, we now have these really big and interesting, and really sometimes people can scribble in silly things there. We have these really versatile tools now that we definitely going to keep using after Corona is done. And the most important thing that really helped us, that Corona really helped us in our studio, what multiple studios do right now, is we have more flexible work hours. So how does it look like now? So obviously, we all work from home, but in the future, we definitely consider having for people who want to work in the office, sometimes work in the office, sometimes work from home. We do have now an expansion. Like I mentioned before, we were hiring. So we have a small office in Berlin that is for up to 15 people, but we hired so many people now, 25, I believe was the last count. We do not even fit in this office anymore. And with that, working from remote, it also expanded our way of working. Not that we all work in the same location, but we also have different locations. So we have people working with us from different cities inside Germany, but also from Poland, from Romania. And these opportunities are just really great for people right now. And also, I guess, after COVID is history, that I think more and more companies will open up these opportunities that you do not have to work inside an office with the people, but we have better and more ways how to work remotely and without like missing the opportunity to casually speak and talk to each other.
Yeah, but I bet it would also help like to have some working from home experience. But if you're not working from home, at least having a project aside at home and working on it, right? So to build up the discipline that's necessary to work from home. Yeah.
And obviously the team will also support you there if you have questions.
Yeah, that's really cool. Jeremy, so for applying, how do you go about asking for a referral, especially if you don't know anyone at that studio that you want to apply to?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's something that I deal, that's gotten me all my jobs for sure. It really depends on the situation at hand. If I already, if I don't know somebody, if I already know somebody at the studio on a personal, professional level, I'll usually reach out right away, say, hey, and I don't, just start the conversation like, hey, give me a referral. I usually start the conversation and say, hey, like, just so you know, I've been really interested in this position, wanting to learn more about it and learn more about the studio, the culture. Do you have any insights? And then eventually like lead into that conversation if, they'd be interested in putting in a good word for me. If I don't know somebody, I tend to, check out that studio on LinkedIn, check to see if there are any recruiters that I can connect with. But then I also go and look at my network and see, does anybody that I know know somebody at that studio. This happens a lot in a lot of the social groups, Discord groups that you eventually become a part of. I know the conference associates do this a lot. They'll reach out to like on our Facebook group and say, hey, does anyone know anybody at Riot, or does anybody know anybody at so-and-so studio? And 99% of the time, they usually one or two people, or sometimes more, to reach out to with those kind of questions. And but most importantly, it's going back to a lot what I said about getting referrals and building relationships. It's really important. Referrals, like I said, get you interviews. But at some point, you'll just have to apply and submit your application. Because you don't want to wait too long, right? But that also doesn't mean you shouldn't continue to follow up with the recruiters, continue following up with your friends at the studios, because referrals can still happen even after you submitted. If you feel that if you waited too long to submit, because there is sometimes a short window with job openings.
Right. Yeah, you might be surprised how many people you know at the studio. Right. So, okay, then I would like to move on to the next question. And that would be, what is the one piece of practice advice you would give someone who really, really wants to join the games industry? And yeah, Carlos, you are a person with a plan, right? So you moved around a lot, and would you recommend the same path to others?
I don't know if I would recommend it. That's why it took a moment. The reason why it's because it's complicated. You have to deal with it. If you move different countries, you have to deal with immigration, different culture. Even if you move, I don't know, from the United States to England, it is a completely different ballgame because it's different culture. So I don't know if it is easy. And then if you add the language, then you have a completely different ballgame there as well. So what I would say is that if you're curious and you want to deal with that and have a good challenge and know more about the world and different people, I would definitely recommend it. That's how I got to meet several people on this panel, which I'm super happy. The thing I would say is that the piece of advice, and it's a little bit unprofessional, this piece of advice is that if you're planning to do this, look at the videos, things you should do in blank or things that you shouldn't do in blank. So blank being the country that you're moving, because those videos tend to be very informational, and also do your own research. That is the most important thing.
Right, because there are a lot of opportunities where you have to move from another country.
Yeah, and there is a lot of opportunities to mess things up and offend people, and you want to be honest and straightforward about things. You're always let yourself mess some stuff up, but also learn from your mistake, grow, and ask for an apology if you feel like you mistreated someone or you offended someone by mistake.
Right. So, Dana, what is something that artists who want to break into the industry should be doing regularly?
So something that you should be doing, and I have to admit I'm really bad at this myself. But most of you are not. You're expert at Instagram and Twitter, and you should really use this to your advantage. Like really do that, because it's not only what Sophie said earlier, a great opportunity to connect with people around the world, but it's also an opportunity where you cheer each other on and allow yourself to receive feedback. And what is really cool about that is that you as an artist have the opportunity to with these networks go a little bit out of your comfort zone. So I really advise you to do that, because what do I mean with that, right? I mean, share your work in progress work. It is really interesting to see you progress and how you go from A to this artist you are right now. And maybe you even share some of your interests, like what Tatiana said before, different interests, like if you play basketball, it really shows some people you are a great team player here, because you know how to coordinate within a team to make this goal in the end. So yeah, really go on to Twitter, share your work in progress work, and the most amazing thing that you might not expect is on this journey that you are sharing with your work in progress, you might even inspire other artists on the way.
Yeah, that really sounds inspiring, right? So get yourself out of there, show your work, especially as an artist, show your interest, show who you are, don't be afraid. Definitely inspiring. So yeah, but sometimes, unfortunately, our industry is not perfect. Yeah, right. So Sophie, sometimes it cannot be the best place ever. What precautions can you take to make sure you don't land in a banned company? How do you find red flags?
Yeah, so something to keep in mind, especially when you're first starting to look for work and just in your job hunt in general, especially if you're looking at companies that like you are so in love with and they're your dream place to work. This is such a silly saying, but when you're looking at the world through rose-tinted glasses, red flags just look like flags. So doing your own work, like we've talked about so much in this panel already, is doing your research. Take it upon yourself to look for news articles that might shed a bad light on the place that you're dying to work at. Kotaku and Polygon have done really incredible expositions on some pretty big name places and the behavior that has gone on within those companies that is pretty less than savory. And there is a lot of issues that run rampant within the games industry. And I know this is like a very hard topic to have to bring up, but it's something that, because we're not talking about it enough, people aren't really being held accountable, and it continues to grow and it continues to happen. And with especially these, new people coming into the industry, you can help change that by knowing that these are things that are going on, and making it so that you don't continue that behavior, or you're more willing to call out that behavior. So be prepared to, maybe have your heart broken a little bit, because as hard as it may be that you find out that this place that you so badly want to work for may not be the right place for you. And kind of tying it back to what I was talking about with, joining these Discord spaces, those are really great for seeing these discussions happen, because sometimes there may not be a large article that's written about it. And the only way that you find out about some of the behavior from individuals at a company is from people in a Discord group or a thread on Twitter. But also you have to know to not take those with, at face value. You still have to look into it and, find out if you can validate the information that you're seeing. So, look for those red flags, because there's some really terrible stuff that happens within the industry from the people that you would call your coworkers. And, yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned a few great resources like Polygon and Kotaku, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
All right. This is definitely something that needs to be kept in mind. Yeah, but let's move on to the next question. And that would be, how did you remain resilient during your job search? So on this picture here, we have Dana during her difficult times in her life. But hey, this is you, but you got back up again, right? So how did you get into that situation, and how did you get back up?
Yeah, you can see me there looking for a job, kind of overworking myself, and just being crushed for a moment, and I just really had to rest. But how did I get there? So in 2016, I was still at Vuga, which was for me one of the most amazing companies that I stumbled upon, and I was lucky to be part of. And in that year, our company, so Vuga, had a really rough time. So it came that one day we were all called into a big auditorium by surprise, and we got the information that 20% of our people had to be laid off. And I was part of one of them, even though I worked for quite some time there. And this place really has grown to be a family. This was really a real shocking moment for me. This was just my second home, you could say. So luckily for me, just before that happened, I was already planning to have something like a sabbatical where I really wanted to expand my skills. I wanted to try something new. And with that in my head, I was really lucky to already have a plan planted into my head that I really wanted to succeed. The only thing that was missing was the new goal. Why was I doing this? I was not doing this for my old company, right? But what would be the new company be like? So one thing that I really wanted to try out was how would it be to become a 3D environment artist? So I was starting to look into what does this actually mean to be a 3D environment artist? What does it mean for job-wise? So I was looking into job AdWords. What would certain companies need to see in a person who has this expertise? And so I was sitting down, looking at new software that I could learn. I trained a few more skills. And then after a year, this was my time frame, I really wanted to go deep into the job hunt. So I did that, and I did not get a job in the game industry. I, however, got a job very close to that in media. And with that, I got to learn something new. I got to learn how to work with VR and with art installations. I widened my horizon in ways I did not imagine at this point. But unfortunately, I really noticed, I noticed really quickly that this is not my home. This is not my people. So I decided for myself, okay, I was not good enough the first time. Let's keep trying. And so I was working this 40-hour job still. And I was also throwing myself into workshops, online schooling and whatnot. And what did that to me is what you can see here on this picture. And what I want to tell you with that is, this is not the way to go. You should really rest up at some point and really grant yourself the time you need to be yourself, be a person. After that, I did take some time. I actually took a whole month off and did my favorite thing. I went to events again on a beautiful location. I had some rest, and shortly after that, that was now 2 years after I was laid off, all of a sudden there are 3 job offers waiting for me. And I was wondering, where have they been all those times? I was looking for almost 2 years now, and nothing happened. But something, and this is the second lesson I have to tell you, is that it is not always on you who has to work hard to get the job. Sometimes it's also the industry that happens to not look for a job right now, but they sometimes happen to look for you, and then suddenly everybody at the same time. So don't be hard on yourself. Take the time you need to rest. And sometimes it's just, unfortunately, a waiting game.
Yeah, but you did it, and that's the most important thing. Work hard, but also take your time to rest, right? So, Jeremy, something similar actually happened to you, right? So you worked at Telltale Games when the studio closed down. How did you stay resilient during these difficult times?
Yeah, it was a tough time, but a very similar experience. It was heartbreaking. We're one big, huge family at Telltale. It felt like, I was being separated from my brothers and sisters, but it was kind of just that helped me remain resilient. My Telltale family, we all banded together. We all helped each other. The industry at large, once news broke out, really reached out and helped support all that networking I had done, at GDC, being a conference associate, and all the the networking I'd done at other events prior to that really paid off. I had people reaching out to me, that were worried. But even though I still had all that, it still was a huge journey getting back into the industry. I was still unemployed for 2 months. I was online every day looking and applying and networking with referrals. But then again, somebody I knew at Telltale introduced me to somebody at Warner Brothers, and that's how I got the contract at Warner Brothers. But then Cryptic reached out to me from a recruiter that I actually knew years prior through Magic Leap. So you never know what could happen. You could be talking to somebody today that might be interviewing you 5 years from now. So just remaining, above all, remain humble, remain positive and optimistic, and just keep building on those relationships.
Yeah, thank you for your advice. Just always staying so humble, but you're actually amazing in this. Yeah. Carlos, what is your plan so that you don't end up like this photo by looking for a new job in the games industry?
So it's hard because I'm usually interviewing all the time and being interviewing and being interviewed all the time. So what I would say is don't try to compete with other people. That never worked out for me, and if it worked out for you, good luck with that. The reason why I say this is because one time I was interviewing for a position, and basically I wasn't chosen for that position, and later I learned that I was the second option, and the first option some people handed me the CV. I managed to get the CV of the guy who actually got that position, and really when I compared myself to that guy, he was a much better fit for that position. So the reason why I say this is like, if I were to be honest, he was definitely much more experienced. He fitted the job right away, and multiple times it's not that you weren't good enough. It's because someone was better. And what you have to do is not to compare yourself with other people, is compare yourself to who you've been yesterday. So if I really wanted a job, I should have trained on those specific tools for those specific things for that specific company, and I didn't have that skill set. So I was kind of in the wrong position at that time. So to always try to be better. All that Everybody has a different story, and sometimes you can try super hard and not get the results that you expected, and it's all right. I'm not saying shrug it off. Learn, evolve, and continue moving forward. It's just a misstep. You will take many of those, and I messed up multiple times in my life, and I want people to know that. And it's not a reason to stop. It's one more reason to continue going and learn from your mistakes and continue moving forward. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for that, Carlos. That was actually really inspiring. Don't stop, continue, but also take care of yourself, and your time will come, definitely.
Yeah, and do some exercise also helps. If you had a bad day, just run as fast as you can. Probably it will go away.
You're right. I agree. Right, and this is it. As you can see, our panelists went through many trials and still they stayed resilient, and I hope that you could learn a lot of them and get inspired by them. So let's summarize a little bit. Update your LinkedIn profile, be open for new experiences, stay up to date with your industry friends, and be yourself, stay strong, and exercise, right? So yeah, this was it. I hope you have an amazing rest of GDC, and this was our panel. And I hope that we can see you at the next GDC in person. So, all right, thank you and bye.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Ooh, amazing.